Twana, how have you? I wanna hear because you the one that's been married the longest
How
out
long
of.
you been married, Twana? Because I remember when you got married.
21 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
What does that even look like, girl?
I mean, it's a lot of what they're saying. Like, he's legit my best friend. Legit. We are homies.
They be doing dance routines and shit.
So yeah, so that, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. I still like him 21 years later.
That part.
I'm
That
still madly in love with him 21 years later.
You are now entering the Drink and Tell group chat with your hosts, Candace, Tawana, Jocelyn, Mickey, and Asia. Welcome to the group chat.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Drink and Tell podcast. We are your hosts, and we are really excited to be here. So let's start off by just talking about, you probably already watched the intro, our introduction to what this podcast is going to be about. And so now we're going to really dive in and really just kind of go through the flow and let you guys into our group chat, essentially. So let's start off by talking about what we're drinking today. What are we drinking? What is today's toast? All of us, well, this will be a part of our segment that we do every episode. We'll talk about what we're drinking, of course, Drink and Tell podcast. And yeah, so today we're all just kind of drinking something different. We're not drinking the same thing today. So I will start off.
We will, though. We're going to share with you what we're going to drink on the next episode so that you can drink with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
So I am the lightweight of the crew. So I am drinking a strawberry mimosa. No, not mimosa, strawberry Moscato. There we go. Strawberry Moscato. Moscato is my favorite.
You're trying to get diabetes? Drinking a dessert wine this early in the morning.
Exactly.
Dessert wine
I like wine cooler-ish.
You used to drink Zima, didn't you?
I did used to drink
That
Zima.
was my first college drink was Zima, and you couldn't tell me nothing.
What about the rest of y'all? What y'all drinking on?
I mean, I'm the heavyweight of the group. I drink vodka straight, so.
Yeah, I don't have that. I have 100% pressed watermelon juice with Ciroc summer citrus.
Oh,
I'm a
All right.
whiskey girl, but today I'm drinking wine. This is the 19 Crimes Snoop Blend.
Mickey,
okay.
what you drinking?
I just came off a cruise, so I'm on some rum and pineapple juice, real light, real fruity, nothing over the top.
All right, so let's jump into our hot topic for today. So what we'll do for every episode, we'll talk about one of the things that, like, we talk about in our group chat or something that's like going on social media, blah, blah, blah. And so today we are talking about the screenshot of the text message with this guy and this girl who are gonna go on this date. He mentioned something about going to get ice cream, and she starts off. You already know when you start off with, I don't mean to be disrespectful, or I don't mean to be offensive, or something like that. Blah blah
You
blah
gonna
blah
be
blah. I'm
disrespectful.
26 years old. Blah blah blah. Like, she.
How old is she?
26.
Okay.
Either 26 or 28, something like that. I'm not doing no ice cream date. We're not on the same vibe, basically. And she was out. She was out, and so this text thread has the internet in a chokehold with people discussing their thoughts on it. So, what about y'all? What are your thoughts?
I think ice cream dates are sweet. When did ice cream dates not become sweet? Like, some of my best dates have been ice cream or tacos. Simple.
Girl, I was in a dorm room sharing noodles with my boyfriend, so hell, that was popping to me. We are from a different era.
I was just about to say that. So when it happened online, I was like, was I like this when I was younger? But when I thought about it, like, I went on a date at TSU with a guy who bought me a 2-piece from Churches. And it was like, it was cute. Like, now, granted, I did tell him I only ate white meat and he bought me dark because it was cheaper, but it was still a very cute date. So, like, I feel like we went on those kinds of dates when we were younger. This generation, these girls want the soft life. They want to be pampered. I didn't even think, when you read the text message, I didn't necessarily think that that was the only, I felt like he was introducing ice cream because he was nervous and trying to break the ice. Because he
Mhm.
said, he was like, I don't know about you, but this weather got me feeling ice
It's
cream.
hot. Yeah,
Right,
it's
it's
like
hot.
it's hot outside.
I felt like he was
Exactly.
nervous.
I
And
thought it was
I
cute.
didn't take that to mean this where we about to go on our date. So I was like, why was that the first thing? Like, okay, not even even if it was the first thing that came to her head, like she didn't even ask any questions. Like,
Right,
she
but
didn't
even
even
if
get
it was,
clarification.
the date, what is wrong with going? You're getting to know someone. I mean, if you're trying to have conversation and get to know someone, you ain't got to do that over $100 steak
But that's what's
that you're
so
probably
funny.
not going to
Ace.
eat, and you probably don't gonna order it medium well or well done. It's gonna be like a burger. Look, go
But that's
try
the
it.
funny part, because if you like, I go out to eat a lot on my downtime by myself, and I can't
Same.
tell you how many times I've sat next to a couple on a date where the man is trying his best to engage her and she is recording her food and recording the vibe and all into her phone and not into him. So is this really about getting to know him, or is this about
A
flexing
free
for
meal.
Mm,
It's
or
about a free meal.
flexing for social media. Yeah.
It's the socialization, going back, not to date us, but we didn't have recordings. We didn't have
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
Think about when we came of age. So you had to, have this discourse with somebody. You had to get to know somebody. Wait a minute, we played outside. I promise you, that's the trump card I'll always use. And we were really outside. They're not. They're flexing, like you say, for the gram or whatever. And that's sad. Like, I hate that, because it sounds like he was a good dude, and she's
Right.
probably gonna look back years later and reflect on, wow, I was a little shallow in that moment.
And we could have this all wrong. Like he could, I mean, we assign that a lot to dudes off rip, right? Like he's a good dude, he's a nice dude. He might have been trying to save some money.
Been trash.
However,
But because
Maybe.
because the truth is that a lot of these guys do feel like, well, you should be happy that I want to take you anywhere because you are single. So a lot of guys in that instance, she's at 26, she has dealt with dudes who are on the be grateful, I want to take you anywhere. And like looking at social media, a lot of these guys, like the whole nature walk, like when we were younger, to date ourselves, yeah, when we were younger, that didn't feel like an insult, right? To say
No.
like, to walk around like to walk around
Centennial Park, you already know where we was at.
you was at
Centennial Park.
Centennial Park, like that stuff was not an insult. But now it is an insult because you have a generation of guys and men who see women as all of them want your money, the money you don't have. All of them are gold diggers. So you got to prove to me that you're worth me spending anything. And so part of it for me is like, I feel like the current dating discourse has all of us on the defensive, right?
Mhm.
You got these
sure.
young guys seeing women as an enemy, and you got women seeing these dudes as the enemy. And it's like, but y'all want to date each other and y'all want to like each other, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Can we hit up homeboy and see what perspective he was coming from with this? I would love.
I
Look,
mean, to be fair, the expectations of this generation's females is outrageous, in my opinion. I mean, quite frankly, most of the females, okay, I won't say most of the females, but I will say that a lot of females,
Let's use
he
women.
said
no,
female.
women, females, whatever, people with vaginas, okay?
Uh-oh.
They go on these dates, like you said, they want to go to a fancy restaurant so they can put it on social media. They really don't care about getting to know a person. They want to get a free meal. They don't want to have conversation. I think an ice cream date is cool, me personally. But once again, we come from a different dating ourselves. We come from a different mindset. I mean, I went on a date with somebody and we went on a walk on the Beltline. I was cool with that. I mean, I'm okay with that.
And
We
see,
burn some calories. We can have conversation. We maybe stop for ice cream or whatever the case may be. But the whole point is to get to know someone. I don't think that people now are dating really to get to know someone. And I think it's in the meantime. I'm I'm trying to fill space. I'm trying to fill time. If I meet somebody and they're cool, or they take me to a nice restaurant, and I have something to brag to my friends about or put on social media, then great. But I don't know that people are really looking to be in relationships. I think they're just enjoying dating and being
And
out.
I think if you're dealing with somebody who actually, so I can give an example. I did date a guy the last 5 years. Well, I wouldn't say we dated, but whenever he needed to really talk to me, he would take me out for ice cream. Because don't do that, Mick. Don't do that. Whenever he really needed to have a conversation,
She had talent.
Local talent.
we'll get into that later. But whenever you really needed to have a candid conversation, it was ice cream because there were no distractions. I mean, we just sat outside and we ate ice cream.
Mhm.
And it was
But
like,
It's these dudes too.
mad
Like,
at somebody
Oh,
eating
it's the dudes. They know that they have options, especially in Atlanta. Let me tell you something. What is it, like 20-1 or 50-1 or some craziness?
ridiculous.
So they don't have to do anything. Don't have a job. Don't have a good job. Your own home. Don't have something going for yourself. You have way too many options, and men get lazy. Then they go for these young girls, but then they're mad because all they want is their money. Well, hello. What
and
you
then
think is
all
gonna
they
happen?
want is like these dudes will spend $10 on you and think you're supposed to have sex with them for like the next 3 weeks.
Exactly.
So so part of it, so in that respect and in that regard, how do you win? Right. I think that part of it, yeah, is that nobody's really dating to or invested in relationships to get to know each other,
Mhm.
because that's part of it, right? So like, I'll be honest, when I shifted, I went through a season where like I just wanted to date. I just wanted to do what I did, and I didn't care about I hate you, Mickey, so much. And I didn't care about any of the like, I didn't want to get to know you because I knew I wasn't gonna be here for a long time. But when I shifted to, okay, I want to look at a life partner, then that's when you could take me on an ice cream date. Like
But here's
that
the
was
thing.
yeah.
I want you all to know that Twana has not said anything because she's married.
This is
But-
Has no input
I'm
in
gonna
this.
have a different
thing.
perspective in a minute, though. I'm gonna have a different perspective in a minute.
Here's the
Okay.
thing none of us are saying, but each of you know to be true. There are no rules for men that you like. So the bottom line is
That's true.
she ain't like him.
That's true.
If he was an unavailable, emotionally unavailable dope boy who wanted to take her to ice cream, it would have been the cutest idea in the world.
This
Yep.
is true. Because
This is so true.
Read
Yeah.
my card,
Yeah.
Josh.
No, I literally, my best friend said that I am only interested in men that are emotionally unavailable because I don't want to have to be available. I don't want, because she knows that once I fit somebody in, I'm making time. I don't make time. That's because I ain't got it. But what is it about emotionally unavailable men? I think it's easier, in my opinion.
It's low risk. You know what you're
Yeah,
getting
low
into.
risk. I'm trying
I
to be
can
better.
deal with them when I don't want to be serious. And then when I do, I think we walk away.
Fair.
But I don't seek those out. I mean, I'm in an era of peace right now, so I'm not dealing with anyone, right? Boy, you better preach a word right here. It is a great place to be. I enjoy my time. There are
Enjoy
things you
my
can buy on Amazon for $26 that will keep you stimulated at night. Because old school will be like, you need somebody warm at night. Well, I got
No, I
something to go at night, and it's all I need at the moment.
At the
But
moment.
it's just
I'm with you though, Mickey. I'm there too. I just don't, as much as I say that I want to be in a relationship, because I know I do, and I know that I personally thrive in relationships because that's just my person. I'm a giver, I'm a nurturer. I like being in relationships, and I'm a serial monogamous. Like I have long-term relationships, but I just lost it. What was I talking about?
You said you can't wait to find someone.
I would like to be in a
wide open
relationship.
for.
But right now, I enjoy being single. I enjoy spending time by myself. I enjoy going on vacations by myself. I enjoy pleasing myself. I enjoy being easy, breezy. Like I don't have, yes, yeah, that I'm not doing, unfortunately. But that's my choice.
Right.
It's my choice. It's easier. Like I don't want to deal with somebody like that. I don't want that. It's work. And I don't
I'm
want it.
tired of being single. I'll be the one to say I'm over it. It's
It
ridiculous.
sucks, but
Stupid.
I'd rather be single and be happy than be in this
Oh.
game, this rat race, and be frustrated and mad.
I definitely am grateful for the clarity that singleness this time around has given me as to like what I allowed, and why I allowed it. And so there's this, there's one thing that my therapist said to me that was like, oh my, I don't know why it was so eye-opening. When she told me, she was like, it's actually okay for you to date. And it's okay for you to be in a relationship and want to be in a relationship, because there's only so much that you can do on your own. And I think that for a very long time, I was in this bubble of like self-work and doing all of this work to better me and to be ready for a relationship, but then was scared because it was like, oh shit, like that includes another person. And, and I think that like there's a fear for some of us who are single. Like I'm the only one in the group that's never been married. And like, I didn't grow up seeing a marriage. My mama wasn't married. The most consistent relationship that I saw was my grandma and my granddaddy. And I'll never forget when I told my grandma that my granddaddy was the greatest man I knew. And she was like, that's because when you was born, your granddaddy was old. So there was this idea, right? That like, and now I understand what she meant. I'm a grown woman. I know my granddaddy was doing some stuff he had no business doing, and they weathered that storm. But there's a real fear, I think, when you have been like burned, when you've been hurt, and then you have to get out there again. Like
it's like caution everywhere, like anything. I'm like, nope, red flag, moving on. Nope, that could be a problem. Nope, I'm not interested. It could be anything at this point. I am not trying to make myself vulnerable to only be let down. So I'd rather be overly cautious at the beginning, which is maybe not a good idea because I'm probably eliminating people that I shouldn't, but I'm in self-preservation. My peace is so important to me that I don't even, at this point, I don't even care. I just don't.
But Asia, take my advice. Just settle for a nigga with titties. And once I get that nigga with titties, I'm gonna show y'all how he gonna love on me. You're gonna be envious.
No, ma'am, because you just had somebody with titties to try to buy you something. Right on.
That's because my toes was chipping and I didn't brush my teeth that morning. Yes, nope. I'm the nigga that still wear a mask and don't brush her teeth in the morning when she go to Smoothie King. I did that shit. And so what am I gonna do then with hot fucking breath and chip paint toenails? He gonna be like, no, give me my money back for buying that smoothie.
But Mickey, the dude who tried to holler at me in Publix and then told me that he was married, he had titties. So like when I saw that debunked your whole myth.
It didn't. He was married was the key thing. I'm saying single niggas with titties, they trying to get on. See, this one don't had his head pumped up because somebody been, he married on the regular. So now he think he got more than what he do. Watch me. And to my titty guy, this ain't nothing towards you because I'm gonna love you right. But watch. And my body gonna be tight when I get the titty man. So they can't even say she fell out because she fat right now and she want a nigga with titties. No, I'm gonna get a titty man when my body is at peak condition. Watch.
Oh my gosh. So okay, so let's talk about, like, we talked a little bit about just like the effects of social media. And I'll say, like Asia was talking about how I'm gonna give a different perspective. Like, my perspective is coming from my sons finding amazing wives, right?
Man, say that again.
I am like just watching all this stuff. I'm like, man, I'm worried for my sons. Like if all these chicks, and he told me, like my oldest son, so my sons are 19 and 22. My oldest son was like, Mom, man, like dating is just different. He was like, they like everything is so social media focused. He was like, girls be wanting dudes with like a bunch of followers and like, you know, these model pictures on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, so I'm like, you know, if this is the things that they're wanting all this money and they want 5-course meals on the first date because the ice cream ain't good enough, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm worried for my sons finding great women,
I am
right?
too, Tawana. I feel that all the way.
And for my oldest, for certain, is extreme. He's so sweet. Like he gets his loving from me. Like his dad is not, Martez is not lovey-dovey, any of that. Marseille is so lovey-dovey. Like he gets all of that from me. And so I'm like, I don't want no hoe taking advantage of him either. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's gonna love and he's gonna love hard. And so when it comes to dating for him, like he's just been kind of chilling, like he's not looking for anything serious right now anyway. But it's just like, oh, I'm worried.
It's hard when you know that you've raised good men, or for me, I might have teenage boys, so I know that I'm raising my sons to be a certain type of man.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to imagine who is going to be available. Like, I want to arrange their marriages at this point, because that's how big it
I
is.
was just about to say that.
Like, because
I'm having daughters are
Yeah.
saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, because I look at my sons and I'm like, they're handsome. My oldest, he's 15. He already knows what he wants to do with his life, and he'll do it.
Mhm.
And women are going to see that, and it's going to be like a beacon on him. And
Mhm.
I don't want him. So look, I'm the liberal, probably the most liberal of this group. And I believe in putting my sons on game. Look, I'm very honest. I need you all to be aware of this and look out for this, and don't do this, and don't let these females do that, because this is what they're
Right.
going to try. And it may not be ideal, but I'm not going to have them getting taken advantage of when they're older, because of who they are, what they've accomplished, who they come from. I'm not okay with it. So Tawana, I'm scared. I'm scared, and they're not even close to 22.
Yeah.
And part of that question of who raised y'all that we used to ask, the answer now is that it's our classmates.
Yeah.
Like people that we went to high school with. It's the ones that our mamas and our daddies side-eyed us for bringing
For hanging
friends
out with.
with. I think about my mom. My mom told me before she passed, she was like, I feel like I raised you to be independent to a fault. And I remember having to tell her that wasn't her fault, right? That like, it wasn't her fault that I did not see her in a relationship with somebody, whether it was my father, like it wasn't her fault that my daddy was trifling and was sleeping with everything. And it, and it wasn't, and she made a conscious decision to her own detriment to not pursue other relationships because she was raising me. And she was also a mental health nurse practitioner who a lot of kids, when we were growing up, a lot of girls were in houses with their mamas, and the boyfriends and the uncles were taking advantage of them. And my mama always said she would never put me in a situation where there was a possibility. Now, unfortunately, we don't talk about the sacrifices that a lot of Black women had, particularly Black mothers, make when it comes to love for themselves, right? So like my mom, because she wanted to raise me to be safe, that meant that she was carving off the ability for her to find love until I left the house, right? And so like I told her, I was like, it's not your fault that I didn't see it. And I can admit now, I don't know what it looks like to be like, I'm trying to figure it out, and I stumble. And, when I do something that don't make sense, and y'all be like, okay, so that might've been a little extra, that might've been a little extravagant. You didn't have to say it that way. Or like I think the other part is that in our 40s, or even in our 30s, late 30s, 40s, those of us who have never really been in relationships, who've never been married, if we're honest enough to say that, there's a certain level of just like, there's a learning curve, right? Of like, well, then what does that look like? What does it look like to be partnering with somebody who both of y'all might be the same way? Like, if what would it look like for me to date somebody like me who
I
is,
cannot date someone like me.
well, I'm saying like who came in a situation who didn't really see healthy relationships,
Okay, yeah.
but who wants to be in one, right?
Yeah.
And we both got our triggers and our traumas. But if I'm automatically coming at a situation where I'm like, everything is a red flag, you're not gonna make me look like a fool, you're not gonna make me, you know what I'm saying? Like, we both are cutting our feet off
Yeah.
before we even really get a chance to walk.
I
Yeah.
think because people don't approach relationships with a friendship part in it. Because think about it. All of us come from different backgrounds. And in order to maintain friendships, you've got to accept those things, but also call it out sometimes when you know it's not right because there's a deficit on either end.
Yeah.
And you do that. You give grace, you listen, you're receptive. And this is why those friendships last for 20, 30, 40 years. If you
Yeah.
approach relationship the same way that you approach your friendships, they would last. I
Yeah.
speak for myself, and I had
That's
a
true.
friendship with it, but I also put that romantic piece, you know, when you're young and it makes you more, I wasn't as emotionally intelligent then as I am now. And
Yeah.
so it was foggy, but had I continued to approach it like I approach my friendships, then you would have, like you said with your grandparents, weathered the storm better instead of being like, nope, that's it, I'm done. Red flag, this, and it's like, no, it's not a red flag. It's you're growing and learning. It's
Yeah.
trial and error.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the things that my mom and I recently had a conversation because, you know, I'm in this relationship and we're happy as is, right? And so everyone around us is like, marriage, marriage, marriage. When you're getting married, we're not in a rush. We're not pressed to get
Yeah.
married. One of the things I had to tell her is we don't know a whole lot of happily married people. Like my sister and brother-in-law met at 17 or started dating at 17, and they are like best friends, dynamic spade partners, like, and that is what they have grown together. Like nobody can beat them at a game of spades. Like they're
Dynamic spade partners. I thought
like, listen, legendary. Ain't nobody beat them at a game of spades. Like
that's
they
the
can
key
talk
to a
about
successful marriage right there.
I think, yeah, but I think to your point, Josh, and Mickey, is that people have this perspective or perception, I'm sorry, of what marriage should be. Like your marriage is an extension of your relationship. It shouldn't change. I mean, the dynamic is what you make it. And my marriage is not going to be anything like Tawana's or anything like Mickey's, or it's going to be completely different. And people need to stop being married for the sake of being married.
Right.
And just commit to having a partnership.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yours not gonna be
personally
like
have never-
mine because I'm sucking male titties on this next one. So, and I don't think you won't move.
That's a whole nother, we're gonna have the sex, we're gonna have that one. And I'll leave that
And
conversation.
when we do,
But
I don't care about her sucking somebody's titties.
I
That's sign language.
I'm
for-
milking them things. Let me tell you something. I'm not paying Mickey no
Milking
attention. I'm not paying no, I'm not paying. But the fact is that you should have your relationship, your marriage, if you decide to do that, should not change your relationship. I mean, it
Like,
it is what it is. I mean, your expectations shouldn't
we
change.
communicate like friends. Like there are days when I'm like, listen, I don't think you can do anything about this, but I got to say this out loud so it won't become a thing with us. And then I'll tell him whatever's on my mind. And there's nothing to be said after that. Like there's no, how can I fix it? You can't fix it. I just need you to know that this is a thing so it don't become a thing.
Yeah.
Like we're friends and I love
This is
that.
how I'm feeling.
Right.
Take it what it is, and we're gonna move forward. If it
That's
needs,
it.
you know, yeah.
Tawana, how have you? I wanna hear, because you the one that's been married the longest.
How
out
long
of-
you been married, Tawana? Because I remember when you got married.
21 years.
Yeah.
What does that even look like, girl?
I mean, it's a lot of what they're saying. Like he's legit my best friend. Legit. We are homies.
They be doing dance routines and shit.
So yeah, so that, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. I still like him 21 years later.
That part.
I'm
matters.
still madly in love with him 21 years later. So yeah, so I mean I feel like that's a huge part of it, is the fact that we are friends in addition to spouses. So yeah.
So I know we gotta wrap up, but if we could go around, what I need advice. So
Okay.
like what relationship advice? Because y'all know I'm over here singing Brandy Only Broken Hearted every day and listening to the Wait Until Exhale soundtrack and playing Let It Go by Tony Braxton and trying to figure out how I'm just how I'm
See,
breathing.
we're different because my theme song was Me, Myself, and I. After I break up with
No,
people.
I'm over here singing just let go, let it flow, let it but I do wonder and worry about women like me who fear, who try
Mhm.
and who get burned and then want to close off. Because I will be very honest, I am actively working to not be bitter and I'm actively working to not be jaded. And I think I can be honest about that in ways that a lot of other sisters will not be.
What you should also work on is not being comfortable with being single. That is what I'm working on. I don't want to get very comfortable with being single because then I'll be 70 years old and I'll be single because I feel like I don't want to deal with shit because it disrupts whatever I feel like I'm doing.
So what
So
does that look like?
I'm always a work in progress. I'm working on putting myself out there more. I'm that person that says, I don't like being single, but I don't leave my house. That's me. Okay. Unless you see me in the grocery store in the airport, I don't do anything. I mean, I'm with my kids. It's very rare that I may go out and do something with homegirls, but even then, I'm there to be with my friends. I'm not there to try and meet people. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe I need to take the blinders off and pay attention to what's going on around me because I'm notorious. If I'm not looking at you, I don't see you. I can walk by Mickey, and if I'm not looking, I won't see her. I do it all the time. It's bad, but I'm working on it. You won't let me pass you. That's the difference. That's that. So I would say that I have to consciously put myself in situations to be able to meet people and be open when I do that to actually meet someone. Though I tried this a couple weeks ago, I was proud of myself. I went and sat at a bar. I didn't open a book. Normally I have my Nook with me. I'm reading a book, having a drink. I don't pay it. I have blinders on. Didn't do any of that. Guy came up to me. I gave him my number. Within 4 days, I was over it. I mean,
Worked you on day 2?
48 hours later, the next day, he asked me for a picture. Sir, I'm not sending you my likeness. You don't even know my last name, but you want me to send it. What you gonna do with my picture? So he said, I adore you, sir.
The dude
24
at
hours.
the dude at the Kroger, I did the same thing, Asia, trying to let myself,
Right.
and he sent me a picture of him in a towel the next day.
The guy sent me a picture with his top off. I don't want that.
I was like, what? And then he called me Candy Cane, and I can't stand when he call me Candy. So that already just, but do not, if I get, oh, y'all would be proud of me. Let me say this right here. I have a Google number now. And I listen to y'all's advice. I do not give these people my actual telephone number anymore. So I gave him my Google number, but you sending me like very, very oddly placed towel pics.
The
So
thirst trap pictures was not trapping, okay? They don't trap. I don't understand.
I'll
Just
say
stop.
this, since we're going around and round, you asked for advice. I'm a person who married young and divorced in my 30s. Like, according to what everybody thought having it all looked like, I guess I had it all. And then the bottom fell out, right? But we were never friends. So there was, when times got hard, there was nothing to ever fall back on. So my first piece of advice is to really concentrate on the friendship.
Yeah.
The 5 years that I was intentionally single were so much fun to me. They were ignorant as hell because I let every situation be what it was, right? I mean, intuitively, if it's not what you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you take it for what it is. And so along that line, I had a lot of fun in the last 5 years with the guys I encountered for various reasons. Some of them, some of them were social experiments. Some of them were just, I was bored, whatever. But I think what was different about JD was that he was the first person who came along that was better than like being single. Like when I was single, I loved going out for drinks by myself. I love eating by myself. I love going to the movies by myself. Like I have all those things that I like to do when I'm spending time with me.
Mhm.
When I met him, I kid y'all not, like I was fucking these wings up at a bar. It was the best tray of wings that ever happened to me. It was sauce running down my arm. My mouth was full when he walked up on me. I had on a Jaguars jersey, not even just a football jersey. I had on a Jaguars jersey because Jacksonville won their second and final game of the season.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like that. And so by the time he walked up on me, he legit said, I want to introduce myself, but you really fucking them wings up, so I'll come back. And when he did, we sat and we talked for 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And we carried off a friendship for the longest because neither one of us were looking for anything serious. But there came a point where we couldn't deny that we would rather spend our time together than apart. And so if I were to offer advice, let these situations be, you in Atlanta, dog, let these situations be what they are. Take your time to get to know who these people are, vet these people. But
Go on
also,
ice cream dates.
go on ice cream date. But also like have authentic friendships. And
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
ooh, that's good advice, Josh. I'll throw my hat in the ring. So,
it-
Candace, there are a couple of things for you in particular. Friendship is always the base. I too am a marriage dropout. That's what we'll call it now. I have a husband. Still one of
I'm
my
a
best
marriage
friends.
dropout.
All the land. I know he like, I hate this bitch
husband.
so much.
I am not a
but he
marriage.
loves
I'm not
me.
taking that. I'm not a marriage dropout.
Her
Bam.
husband.
Oh,
She
a
called him
husband.
her husband.
It's my husband. That is the homie. But I'll say this. You are a church kid. From one church kid to another. You've got to find the church kid that's cool. That's what it is. Not the church kid that was so indoctrinated that they can't see
Ain't
past
no
the
earthly
Bible.
good.
You got to find a worldly church kid like you. And that's going to be the one part of it. The other piece is going to be a friendship. The other one is going to be somebody who accepts the totality of who Candace is and is your biggest cheerleader and vice versa. If
Yeah.
you find those components, you'll be fine. You're finding pieces of those things. But like Jocelyn, dude walked up on her and was like, okay, in his mind, he's already reasoning, this nigga be eating messy. I don't even care. I like her. I want to get to know her. So now she can continue to eat messy for the rest of her life and not put on a facade.
There's no representative. There was
There
no
it is. You
Yes, if
saw
there's no, the representative is the problem. When that representative leaves the building, I'm like,
right. So he has to see you when you take out that hair. He got to see you when you wash that face off. He's got to see you when you chatting with us and you laid over to the side. And I'm not gonna say what else is going on, but you just talking. He's got to know that person, not just the intelligent, smart, great, entrepreneur that we know. And so I think when you find that, that's when you'll find more success and more happiness in that realm of dating and possibly taking it further. That's my
Candace,
take.
but you also have to, whoever you end up with has to be very secure and confident, because you're just going to continue to soar. I mean, the star is just going to keep getting brighter. So if they feel threatened by it, or if they don't have their own, or it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
They said if they go to the Stedman School of
I'm
Boyfriends
just
and
saying,
Husbands,
because
that's
that whole
what you
Kiki
need.
thing,
Find you a graduate.
that ain't it.
A
That's not
graduate
it.
of the Stedman School. That's what I
Hey,
mean.
It
That's
ain't broken. It's been going strong for 40 years.
true.
Facts. Okay, so I'll give mine and then I will push us on to the next segment. So, I mean, I have been out of the dating game for over 21 years at this point, but
Ooh, I even remember when you and Marseille started dating. Ooh, I remember.
Marseille. You mean
I'm sorry, not Marseille.
So the only
Marquez,
thing
look,
I
I'm-
have is just don't settle. Don't be so disappointed or so ready to get to what you feel like you want that you are willing to take something that's not truly for you. So it's okay if that takes a minute. It's okay if that takes longer than you expected or wanted to, because when it comes, baby, it's gonna
Everything.
be fire. Yep.
Everything.
That sounded nasty. When it comes.
Mm. What's for you is for you, basically. And what's not will not be.
Mm-mm.
Yep. Yep.
That's true.
Okay. All right. Y'all ready to move on to the drink intel segments?
Yeah.
All right. So for our drink and tell segment, we ask you guys, our listeners, our viewers, to submit your situations, your stories, your crazy stories that you have going on that you may want our advice on or our commentary on. And we put that call out there, and we had a few of you to submit something. So I'm going to read our one for today, and then we are going to get into giving this young lady some advice. Okay, so it says, my fiance is starting divinity school in August and wants me to move to Boston with him. I'm dragging my feet on moving. How do I tell him I'm not interested in being a first lady / minister's wife? I love him, but I just don't think I'm fit for that role. Plus, his income will mainly come from student loans in expensive Boston. I feel we will also be struggling, so I'm torn. We're both 35.
Ooh.
What y'all got?
He said, ooh, because that age is, I mean, you're young, but you're not young anymore.
Yeah.
We're old enough to know it's not gonna work. She already knows. She knows that she doesn't
Rip
want
that
to get
Band-Aid off.
I think the
financial.
red flag will be was your
Sure.
income is student loans at 35. Oh, that's not going to end well, friend.
Jesus paid
See
it
what the
all.
Supreme
If
Court
Jesus
did.
paid it all, why are we finna go into debt voluntarily to learn about the Lord? No.
And not only that, this is not a degree that guarantees a job that will pay
the
well.
ROI just ain't
Speak
ROI.
on what you know, Candace. Speak on what you know.
Listen, because I have a seminary degree and I'm not in ministry intentionally, but I have friends who it took them years to get to a pastorate after graduating. But I think the bigger part beyond her wanting to the financial piece, she don't want to be a first lady.
Yeah.
She don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
That it don't matter if he had
A
a
gazillion
trust
dollars.
fund. He could be moving to Boston on a trust fund. She would still, she does not want to do
You
that.
don't want that life. She doesn't want that
She
life.
don't want that life.
Yeah.
And that's the
You
part.
want to pop it for a real nigga is what it sounds like. She's still in the streets.
Let me tell you. And we were talking about that, but Josh, no, I tried.
It
Josh was there. I tried it. It don't work. If
she
that ain't
started wearing midi dresses to her calves because somebody told her at dinner that the mold that she fit wasn't molding.
Candace is coaching. Them the only niggas I knew that was wearing
Oh,
dresses
Kojic
today.
I tried when I was at Duke. I tried. I was in Durham. It was even before I got to Duke. And he was a local pastor, and he felt like I was too worldly. And so I changed everything. I cut off my nails, and because we was going to the same place
Well,
to
at
get
the nail
our
shop when you told me.
we
I
was
was like,
getting our nails done, and I cut my nails off and had them little baby nails with these like muted colors. And
Kojic, Mickey. She was
Oh, shit.
I tried.
Shout out to all my
And then-
Kojic fam. Look.
And then I cheated on him with
With a
something.
thug.
And I was like, I can't do this no more. So
For the D boy.
Yeah, basically.
so
Yes,
I need a fuck boy.
ultimately, she doesn't want this life.
not
And
about this.
she's gonna have to. My advice to her, one, is you can love him, but you're gonna have to tell him the mold or the idea of what a first lady or wife that you have in your head is not gonna be who I am.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, I know only a handful of women who were able to say that to their dudes and it worked. So when she has this conversation, she's got to be open and ready to the reality that that relationship may end, because those guys are taught that in order for them to get a church and in order for them to be successful, their wife has to fit a certain mold. So
Mhm.
she's gotta be okay with the unfortunate reality that when she's honest, that relationship may end,
Yeah.
because neither one of them deserve for her to go to Boston and be
Yep.
honest.
Correct.
For
Good
sure.
advice.
Yeah,
I
I a church that I used to go to, the first lady, I mean, it was, I don't know if it was, I won't say it was fairly now. I knew that she didn't want to be a first lady. Like, they were married already when he got the calling, you know, so it was, she was like, this is your calling, not mine. They're divorced now. Now, whether or not that was the reason, I don't know. You know, I don't know the circumstances surrounding their divorce. But I know that that wasn't a life she wanted to live. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it impacted their marriage, right? So
I can see that as a man would feel, well, you're not supporting me. You're not doing XYZ. When, like you said, it's his calling. It's not yours. I mean,
Mhm.
I know I could never date anybody in the ministry. It would not work.
Yeah.
I just, I'm driving the bus. So
Oh, I'm not. I would agree that I don't want to link you with
mm-mm,
a minister or anyone of the cloth. I
no
do
one.
not think that
It is
would
not
fit.
going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
I mean, it's gonna be fun though to watch that train wreck. But yeah. So
It just wouldn't work. I mean, you have to know yourself. She has to look within herself. If she's saying, I don't want to be this, then she doesn't want to be it. She needs to just say,
Right.
this is not going to work for me. This is not the life that I want for myself.
And she deserves the life that she wants.
Exactly. That
You
part.
deserve the
Don't
life you
tell
want.
ourselves that enough.
Mhm.
And there is someone else out there. So I think the fear with a lot of women get in relationships and then they're like, but then I have to start over. But then I have to do this. Then I have to do that. So you get complacent and you stay in these relationships, and then they end anyway because you're miserable or you're lonely or it could be anything. So know thyself and move accordingly. And if that means that you're single for a while, then it means you're single for a while. If it means you're not engaged anymore, that means you're not engaged anymore. But at least you're going to be happy and you're going to be true to yourself. I mean, who wants to live their life unhappily?
Yeah.
No
maybe
one.
No, the part for me that stuck out, knowingly messing up your financial picture
Yeah.
by
at
moving.
the tender age of 35, the tender age of 35.
Yeah. I mean, if you can see it coming, sis, then don't.
Mhm.
Yes. Abort mission.
Yeah.
Mission.
No,
Um,
that's it.
break his heart.
I think that, and I think that's why I love what this is going to be so much, because I do think that we don't have enough spaces that tell us, one, that we deserve the life that we want and it's okay to pursue it, and two, that going into something that is going to make you have to take certain sacrifices, particularly financial ones, that you are not guaranteed something on the back end for a return on your investment. As Black women, especially, we can't afford to take those hits. And as somebody who somebody who went to seminary, I ain't gonna lie, I would have loved to have been in a relationship and leaned on that chick. So understand, sis, if you going, we gonna lean on your check. And that may not necessarily be what you want, even knowing we gonna lean on your check and it's going towards a career that you don't necessarily want to align yourself with romantically. Like, these are some sacrifices that it's okay for you to say, I don't want to make them.
And they're not married yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you may, when you're married, you might have to bend and move a little bit differently.
Not might,
Uh,
Asia.
but-
That's why we're on this other side of marriage dropouts. Because
First
We
of
didn't-
all, let me be clear, okay? I've never wanted to be married. I got married because
you did it.
I got married because my now ex-husband made me believe that's what we were supposed to do after being in a relationship for 4 years. I drank the Kool-Aid. Okay. 6 months later, I left because I already knew it wasn't what I wanted. We should have just stayed friends. And we're friends to this day, but we should have just stayed friends. And I was not what was right for him. So I knew within myself that it just wasn't gonna work. I knew it. I knew that probably a month after I got married. But that's just me. What I'm saying is that, I know someone that whose spouse, she's now the breadwinner, and it's stressful on her. Like she is fit to be tied.
Mhm.
It's stress, and they're married, they have children, but she loves her husband, but he needs to get back in the game because the wife is struggling, and she doesn't want to be divorced, but you can only sustain it for so long if your partner is not recognizing what the problem is and trying to communicate with you or trying to help or what you gonna do? If I can do bad, I can do bad all by myself. Isn't that what they said?
Shout out Tyler Perry.
But I'm just saying. I just think sis, don't do it. Don't do it. Reconsider. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right.
Don't do
Yeah, I think that's the consensus. Like, throw the deuces, sis. Gonna break his
Stay
heart.
true to yourself. Know
Mhm.
what you want and stick to it.
Sure. Okay.
And just know that we're thinking about the woman and the man in this situation.
Correct.
We don't want him to have to dim his light, and we don't want her to make
Right.
sacrifices that it
Thank
sounds
you for
like she
saying
doesn't
that.
want to make.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. He
Yeah.
knows what he wants. He got the calling. So that's the path he needs to take. That doesn't mean that's the path that she needs to take with him. If that's not what she feels is going to be her best path.
Don't
Look.
give up your guy for that girl. Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mickey. That was a good point. Yes, it's the best thing for both of them for sure. Okay, and for our final segment of the day, so let me just kind of explain how this is going to go. Each of us will have our own individual segment on each episode that's unique to us and our personality, etc. So on today's episode, we are going to do Mickey's segment, which is called "Get the Bleep Out of Here." And
if you know Mickey, then you understand. I mean, and you don't know her yet, you'll come to understand.
You're about to see why this is the name of her segment. So, Mickey, have at it.
Dude, okay, so y'all, this coming from the dome. Like, this is free balling. Ain't no preparation going into this. This is a situation that happened last night. So I went on a cousin cruise to the Bahamas. Had a great time. Yeah. As I'm flying out of Miami, I don't want to say the airline. I don't know how this works with getting sued and stuff. We'll just say I'm on an airline where if you want a better seat, you can pay, like $40 and you get in a different boarding class, right? So I'm A2, right? What comes before two, friends? Wait for it. Pee Wee Herman. 1. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking other than 1 or 2, wheelchairs, I'm good to go, right? Dude, 46 niggas went before I got on the plane. You ask, how does that happen? Pre-board is the new scam. I'm going to tell you where I live. I live in Chicago. I am not a native, but I've been up and through here for 20 years. I did not know that this was the new hustle. It's like the PPP loan. So as I'm seeing 1 or 2 wheelchairs come through, that's normal, right? It's some Caucasian people behind me. They were like, is that 15 wheelchairs? Never in my life. So I'm like, was it some type of convention? Did something happen? And then they all had their own entourage with them. 15 wheelchairs, y'all. These niggas went all the way through there. 46 people went before A2. When I got up to the front, the guy said, hey, when you get on a plane, tell them you're the first one to board in general boarding. So I get in there and I'm expecting to see all 46 niggas in the front, right? They're at the back of the plane. Make it make sense, Swipe. So how do you need a wheelchair to get you down? What's that called, Tawana? The breezeway?
Breezeway.
Yeah. How do you need that? But your ass can go to the seat 58 in the back, like literally in the back, because you want to be with your homies. So pre-board is a scam now, y'all. And get the fuck out of here. There is no need to be 15 deep. And about it, 16 of them niggas was on that cruise with me. Not gonna say the cruise line I was on, but it was ratchet. And you can talk to me offline later about what it is, but there's a certain cruise line right now, y'all, that is catering to the ratchet. And they was all on there, and they was jumping and drinking and shit, doing karaoke. Catch my shit on Facebook. My face is private. I mean, my page is private, so I ain't gonna let your ass on there because of career choices. But what I'm saying is, I guess, get the fuck out of here. They should do something about the pre-board. It is a new scam, and I didn't know. Tawana, there you have it. I was frustrated. I didn't know. And then I did want to align myself with the colonizers, but at that point, I'm looking like, look at these niggas. And then I had to stop because they still my people and I want to help them. But I was definitely, me and Karen was thinking the same thing. This is some bullshit. And they couldn't say what they wanted to say because they saw me standing there. I had these braids, so they knew who I stood with, who my tribe was. But in that moment, I see why some of us got us kidnapped. Like, this was some bullshit. That's a whole nother conversation too. Thank you, Tawana. Peace. Is that how I end my segment?
Oh my gosh. Well, that was the very first segment. Mickey's get the bleep out of here.
Frustrated. Who thinks niggas in pre-board job? For real though. 15 wheelchairs. Have you ever?
But you know what? Until you said this, I didn't think about it yesterday, but they was flying out of Miami. They could have been coming back from getting PBLs.
I thought that too. But I also told Mickey, that's the scam in Atlanta because the TSA is so long, people get wheelchairs because they go to the front of the TSA line. So, because you don't have to provide any documentation or anything as to why you need the wheelchair. You just have to request the wheelchair.
Want to watch this? Ain't no niggas in Chicago getting no BBLs. And some of these niggas, I ain't gonna say particular neighborhoods where I think they reside. No, this was a hustle. This was a scam. Chicago is scam USA. Trust and believe you will get off. Jocelyn made a face because she like, yep. Any hustle, they gonna find it. They not gonna starve or be hungry, and they not gonna be last in line.
My brother-in-law says it all the time. Either you hustling or you being hustled.
It is. And they hustled that airline yesterday, all 46 of them.
All right, so before we close out episode 1, first of all, we got to shout out the Tennessee State University. We're all rocking our TSU get up. We all disappeared.
We did all disappear. I'm the TSU legend. You see that? You see that? Oh, it disappeared.
It disappeared, friend. There you are.
So yeah, we're all rocking TSU gear today to represent where we all met, you know, where this all started, and of course the best HBCU there is.
Hands down.
All right, so before we get out of here, next week or next 2 weeks, the next episode 2, we will be talking about, that episode is called and I forgot
Closer Than Kin Friends.
Thank you. Closer Than Kin Friends. And we're going to be talking about family versus family. You know, those friends that have become family. How does that dynamic work with your family, etc.? We will be sipping on our favorite wine. And then next episode, our individual segment will be mine. And so I am always behind the game a little bit. So we'll get to find out what I'm behind the game on for that next episode.
Behind the game, like years behind the game.
All right. We hope you guys enjoyed the very first episode. We will see y'all. Bye.
Bye.